guys, it's Rachel here with Senza Tempo Cane Corso. Out here, figured that we would do a ladies' night. It is ladies' night.
Lord, the chickens are out.
Oh Lord, there's Trinity. Almost hit there. So yeah, so I let the females out, so there's no conflict as far as males out. Good God, dude, she is slimy. So anyway, so yeah, females are out. So Blondie should be nearing the end of her heat cycle now. Her and Batista have done their thing yesterday and today. You can see she's a lot less swollen right now.
Hey, there's chickens.
Velocity is still pretty dang swollen back there. You can kind of tell because it looks like an elephant seal nose. Trinity, back over here. I don't know if you can kind of see it there. So you see how it's kind of swollen all the way there? That's how you know. Oh, hey, that's a bad dog, Trinity. Cut it out. That's how you know that they are in heat, and that's how you know. Get off, Blondie, now. And that's how you know that they're still too big in heat to do anything. Because Bella, get out of there. So I wanted to answer a question. Some people had noticed that Trinity sometimes will hop. She's fine. I actually, when I got her x-ray, some people will just x-ray the hips, but we get all the way down to the knees. She does not have a luxating patella. What I found, because both Reese and I had noticed it before, and we could tell that it had to do with her structure, but neither one of us really understood why. So what I will tell you to do is go ahead and Google like greyhounds or sight hounds running, and you'll notice that whenever they transition from, say, like a run to a slower speed, you'll notice that they actually do the same thing. I think that it has to do with the structure of the animal. So basically, she has more structure that is more related to, or more relatable and similar to a sight hound. She has that roach top line, extreme tuck up, and the steep croup. And so anyway, so it's quite strange, because I was trying to explain it to Reese. I had seen it, I'd noticed it, but to me, I could tell that she was just kind of, it's almost like she can't smoothly transition from a run to a trot. And I knew that there's nothing there, because if you see how fast she runs, you would know, obviously, there's nothing going on there, because obviously it would, you know what I mean? You don't run that fast, you don't corner that hard at that speed, if you have any type of issue there. It would absolutely show itself. But oddly enough, while we were on the phone, she was like, oh my God, she's like, Google greyhounds playing. She's like, I'm looking at ones playing in the backyard, and she goes, and they do the same thing. And I was like, no way. And so, Googled it. Sure enough, they do. So it's interesting. There are things about structure that, for example, there's this one, I think it was Pat Hastings, maybe it was. I have this book on structure, but she also does a video series. And she was talking about how she was watching these dogs gait, and she was just for sure that this one dog had hip dysplasia, but it didn't. They looked at the hips were fine. And she said how a way that a dog is built structurally can affect their movement, which a lot of us already know that. But it can actually affect it in ways that you would think that there's something really wrong with the dog, and yet it isn't. It's just an issue in the way that the dog moves. So it was very interesting. Obviously, her structure is not ideal. I've talked about that. We don't want a top line like that, even though it contributes to her blazing speed, just like a greyhound is super duper fast for the same reasons, because the way they're built. She's not supposed to be a greyhound. So anyway, so those are things that we obviously wouldn't want to see, right? So she's just doing it just there. And she does it sometimes. And you'll notice it, she doesn't just do it anytime. She does it whenever she's transitioning, from one, kind of one gate to another gate. And I think actually what's interesting is I bet you horse people would probably be more familiar with that thing, because horses can actually be interesting like that. They can do these kind of weird gait changes. But for sure and for certain, both Reese and I, we looked at her x-rays again last night. Her patellas are exactly where they need to be. There is no issue there. In fact, we actually looked at a Corso that had a luxating patella, and it's quite obvious when you see it. It's quite obvious. It is, you know it when you see it. So she doesn't, but it is definitely a funky gait, that's for sure. And like I said, we will be breeding her to males that do not have those physical traits, and that should correct the structural. The structure in her that actually causes that thing to happen. But if you have any doubt, which most of you I know don't, some people don't know me well enough. Most of you that have been watching me long enough would know if there was something wrong, we wouldn't keep her. You know what I mean? We wouldn't breed her. If I was going to pet out one of my favorite females midnight, you know what I mean? Like we wouldn't, you know what I mean? Like I'm not even as close to Trinity as I was with Midnight. We wouldn't do it. You know what I mean? So anyway, so we have no reason to hide anything. We absolutely took a look. There is no issue there. So there's absolutely no reason to, to count her out, because there isn't an issue there. But I will admit it is a funky gait change. So, huh? They're playing, yeah. So they're both hormonal right now. They're both in heat. So they're doing what you would normally see them do with a male. That's what they're doing. Totally normal, but it is what it is.
I wonder what that is. They're Blondie. She's had that for a while.
What, that line? Looks like a scratch.
Where the hell is a scratch like that?
Looks like scratch to me. I don't know if you can tell, but Blondie's not near as swollen. Yeah, I told you it's a scratch. I bet you Batista scratched her whenever he was grabbing her.
They do that.
And there's a funny thing. There used to be, Blondie actually used to do some funny gait changes. It was different though. It was what we call, now I'm gonna forget it. It's sidewinding, I think is what they call it. I can't remember exactly, but yeah. But she was more square. It took her getting longer in her body frame, and then she stopped doing it. Maybe sidetracking. I forget exactly what it's called. But basically, instead of moving this way, they move like that. Like they're going forward, but they're going forward like that.
She used to run into her sister a lot.
And so she doesn't do that anymore because she's got length in her body now. So there's all kinds of things. The way an animal is built will affect the way the dog will move. And so, so it's just something. That's why we pay attention to structure so much. And it's quite obvious whenever you look at Trinity, how different it is when we talk about the top line. We're talking about the how level the back is. There's a lot of curvature to Trinity's back. Very similar if you were to compare her to a sighthound. Sighthounds are your Borzoi, your Saluki, your Greyhound, Whippet. I don't think a Basenji is, but I know they do have the double suspension gallop. What are some other ones? Hey, get out of my garden, Trinity! Out! Good girl. What else is there? The Irish Wolfhound. It is a Scottish Deerhound, I think is another one.
You got babies!
The African one is like the Askawazi or something like that. I know I pronounced that wrong. But anyway, many of them, have, like I said, a very, very similar trait. And if you listen to the interview, I linked to it on my page on my breeder page on Facebook. There is a interview with Mario, who is the founder of the Della Porta di Pinta kennel. He talks about the fact that the Corso, before it was actually a breed, were mixed with sighthounds. And so you'll see a lot of top lines like hers, a lot of croups like hers in dogs of the past. And so, yeah, so is it correct? No, not for the breed standard. Does it hurt her? No, it doesn't. But it is not what we're trying to breed for. We're not trying to breed dogs that look like sighthounds. And so, like I said, we'll go out of our way to make sure that when we breed her, that we breed her to a male that has a better top line, a better croup. It's too early to tell yet. She might get some length. I remember thinking Blondie was super square when she was younger, and then she ended up just getting length out of nowhere. Yeah. So she may, in fact, oh nice, there's yellow squash out of my garden.
I don't like the thingies it's got on it, the sticky.
Yeah, the little hairs. Yeah. So anyway, so she may end up getting a little bit more length, but as it is now, she is square. Yeah, they do. So anyway, so that's what Reese and I both came to the conclusion on, after taking a look and really trying to see what we thought it was, because it is a funky thing, but you'll never see it unless she's transitioning to a gait. Like just then when you saw it, she was literally transitioning into a run.
What's she doing?
Rolling. So, yeah.
Surprised Blondie hasn't corrected her at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I bet you if I asked Christina from Sanguine Magnifica about it, if I showed her the video and asked her, she would probably be able to tell me the exact mechanics as to why that's happening. Like, she's really good at knowing, like, oh, okay, so this, when the top line's like this and this is like this causes, limited range and movement of this. And she'd really be able to help me understand exactly why we're seeing it. Cause it is weird. That's why I pulled up her x-ray yesterday and took a look. But it is a weird one. But it's understandable because she's the only dog that I have and that I've ever had that is built like she is, that has structure like she is. So it would make sense as to why it is that we're seeing it. But it was like a eureka moment whenever, because I was like, I don't know, Reese. I was like, what do you think? Because I didn't think much of it because of how well she moves as far as her running. Like, she's so fast. She runs so hard. She corners so hard. She stops so hard. Like, she should be going lame. If she had a luxating patella, she should have, she should have busted it. There should be, usually what will happen is, it'll get, basically it's like the kneecap and it will actually get stuck. It'll move out of position and get stuck. And so the leg will get stuck. They'll hold it. They'll kind of go lame for a minute. She's never done that. The only time you'll ever see it is whenever she's transitioning to a run or out of a run. That's the only, see there? That's the only time you'll see it. And I was kind of like, I don't know, Reese, but she's the one who actually found it. She's the one who found the video. So very weird, but you learn new stuff every day. And so, that it is what it is. And actually what I'll probably do, just for the naysayers, because Lord knows there will always be people who think I'm being dishonest despite my greatest efforts at always being honest. I'll go ahead and I'll post the picture of her x-ray onto my Facebook page along with her pen hip results so you guys can see her patellas. So, because you can see it. They're exactly where they should be. No issues. Hey, don't you be making a mess. No, ma'am. Good night. In fact, I'll even put it up on my Instagram. Although I will say Instagram can be weird sometimes if it's too long of a photo. Hopefully it's not. I'll try to. If not, just go to my business Facebook page, and you'll see it there. Because you guys know me, transparency. Which, let me just say, like, oh my God, sometimes I think I just do too much. Like when I'm not going to say who, but there's another kennel on YouTube that has been involved in some controversy lately for producing dogs with hip dysplasia, ACL tears, not giving the paperwork to the owners, like no papers on the dogs. I got a call from a guy from Saudi Arabia who said that his friend bought a dog from this individual, paid for the dog in full. And when the guy asked him about when he asked him about health testing, the guy never responded. And he said he's been trying to get in contact with him for over a week, and they were wanting to know what I thought they could do and if I had any advice for them. And I was like, I don't. I was like, you're just going to have to sue him. And so anyway, so this individual does not health test, doesn't even lie about it. Like, there's Facebook posts where he and I had kind of gotten into it, and fully admits does not health test. Bred really old dogs, breeds dogs that don't fit the standard, doesn't title his dogs, just keeps them in really bad conditions. If you look through the Instagram page, you'll see dogs in really poor condition. Basically keeps the dogs in what looks to be like a shelter environment. These, like, kennels, and they have like these really big food feeders. It's almost like they don't really go check on them very much. So, or maybe they do. I'm speculating there. I don't understand why it's like an automated feeder. It's a huge thing of food, kind of like almost like what you would feed like a small animal. Like it's a big thingy, and then there's like a little outlet at the bottom. So as the dog eats it, the food level just goes down like that. And so just very, very interesting. I could never keep my dogs in something like that. I would feel horrible. I've talked about building kennels, but they would never, like, I would still have my dogs out. I would still mess with them. I would kennel them only when necessary. Like when I kennel a dog, all I can think about is as if I was in there. You know what I mean? I just feel bad. And I don't want my dog to just be stuck in a kennel all day. It's just not, it's not ideal to me. And so anyway, so this individual is doing all this stuff, and nobody complains about him. You know what I mean? Like, not even people in the community. I was like looking back, and I was seeing how many likes were on the post and how many people were commenting. And I was like, how is it that this individual gets away with this? And it just irked me whenever I'm trying to do everything I can to produce wonderful dogs, health tested dogs that adhere to the standard. I've done so much, and I get so much flack. It's the weirdest thing. I don't get a whole lot, but I do get some. I think more than this individual. And anyway, it was just weird. It was just really weird. I had somebody like commenting on my Instagram about it today. They were like they commented on a picture of Nirvana saying that she should be spayed and removed from the gene pool, because she doesn't look like this individual's dogs. And he had the audacity to call me a backyard breeder while suggesting a kennel, advertising for this guy on my page, telling people she should be removed from the gene pool, and everybody, if they want a proper Corso, should go to this individual, and called me a backyard breeder when this individual is the quintessential, like, if you looked up the definition of a backyard breeder, his name should be under it. You know what I mean? No health testing, just breeding for absolute size. Just no purpose to the breeding. Just shocking, absolutely shocking. It's just so weird to me how he's able to get away with it. You know what I mean? To be perfectly honest with you, it's just shocking to me. So, Anyway, so enough of me complaining about the lack of ethics and morals in the community as a whole, and with people that claim to care about backyard breeders, and they come for me, but they don't come for this individual. Anyway, so just wanted to kind of do a little video with the females for you guys. I know that people were missing them. Blondie should be out pretty soon. She should be done. I would say within the next couple days, it'll be safe to bring her out without the males getting into a mood about it. So hope you guys are having a good day, and I will talk at you later. Bye.